I will present how to care for your hybrid and some of the situations that you're going to be in. Alrighty, here's an overview of today's topics. We're going to go over what GSA has to offer when it comes to hybrid vehicles. We're going to also go over some of the safety precautions and the systems involved with hybrid vehicles, what to do if you're involved in a hybrid vehicle accident, typical maintenance schedules and repairs for hybrid vehicles, and last but not least, the hybrid vehicle warranty. GSA currently utilizes two types of hybrid fuel categories. The fuel type 71, they have a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, or PHEV, that uses only gasoline. They also have a fuel type 74, which would be a hybrid electric vehicle, or HEV, that also only runs on gasoline. GSA currently does not have any PHEVs or HEVs that run on diesel or E85, but these advancements in technology have already been seen in the production vehicles distributed in Europe and other foreign countries, so we'll see those in the future. Currently, the Chevy Volt and the Ford C-Max are GSA's first plug-in hybrid vehicles, but as you can see, PHEVs are on the rise, and you should expect more of these vehicles to enter GSA's fleet in the future. Other ones that have opened up this year are the Ford Fusion Energi and the Mitsubishi Outlander, but the Mitsubishi is just in Japan. You can see a lot of other countries are developing their own PHEVs. I expect to see more of this in the future. HEVs have exploded in today's market. These are just a few of the hybrid vehicles that you can find in GSA's fleet today. The Escape, the Saturn Aurora, the Fusion. I've driven, I believe, all of those, and I love driving the hybrid vehicles. They're just kind of fun, snappy little vehicles to drive, and they get excellent gas mileage. Next, we're going to talk about the importance of safety, whether it be with a hybrid or with any GSA vehicle. This information is going to pertain particularly to hybrid vehicles, though. Some of the safety topics we're going to talk about is vehicle identification, the high voltage cables under the hood, the hybrid internal safety systems and the components used to keep you safe, some general precautions you can take to make sure you keep yourself safe, and personal protection equipment, or PPE, which technicians will use to keep themselves safe. So here are some visual examples of how you can identify a hybrid electric vehicle. I believe the PHEVs will also have very similar identification. They're going to have the high voltage sticker under the hood, the orange-colored cables under the hood as well. You may also see some blue-colored cables or some yellow-colored cables. These are going to indicate medium voltage, and the orange-colored would indicate the high voltage. Also on the back or side of the vehicle, you're going to see emblems and decals. And you're also going to see charging indicators and labels on the dashboard. That's a picture of a Ford Fusion hybrid dash. That's got the growing leaf on the right-hand side, the charging indicators right next to the speedometer, as well as the fuel level and any other gauges you would like to see in your car. It's important to recognize that you're driving an HEV or a PHEV, for a variety of reasons. First, the idle shutoff function can make it seem like the vehicle is off, even when it's in gear. Please be sure to put your vehicle in park before exiting the vehicle at any time. Second, as there is no starter, many users can mistake the electric mode for a non-working vehicle, as the vehicle will not turn over with the turn of a key. Please take caution when using an HEV for the first time. The driving experience in an HEV is not quite the same as your standard non-HEV vehicle or your daily driver. One should not assume that a vehicle is not a hybrid based on the lack of readily visible items such as the emblem or the dash. As I mentioned before, hybrids will almost always have visible orange-colored cables under the hood. Be safe and beware of the orange. Hybrids generally are equipped with a dual voltage system, though most of the electrical system is your safe 12-volt battery system, which you'd find in your daily driver or your standard non-HEV. The electric motor, the battery, and other related components that will operate in excess of 100 volts are located in hybrids. This being said, an electrical shock with as little as 50 volts can prove fatal. To warn technicians and operators of these high voltage circuits, the cables are wrapped in a bright orange colored casing. Early hybrids, again as I mentioned before, will have the blue or yellow colored casing for medium voltage systems. Those are going to operate around 34 to 42 volts. To safely maintain and repair these components, the system must be depowered, and this is a task that is absolutely best left to the trained technicians. You should not go and try and fix your hybrid vehicle or any of the electric components in your hybrid vehicle, just for your own safety. So how do you stay safe? Well, with all of these high voltage components, someone posed to ask the question, are these vehicles safe? The answer is yes. Hybrid voltage systems are isolated from the vehicle chassis and operate as a contained system. The following will disable the high voltage system: airbag deployment, a high voltage leak, a high voltage interlock circuit, removing the 12-volt battery negative, and removing the service disconnect from the back of the vehicle. In some cases, such as component failure, collision damage, and improper repair, the high voltage can contact or leak to the chassis. Each hybrid in modern-day production contains a system that will monitor the chassis for these voltage leaks. If the monitoring system senses a high voltage on the chassis, the vehicle will utilize a safety switch or multiple switches to automatically cut the high voltage power to the system. If the system short circuits, a fuse will open, cutting off the high voltage power from the battery, and the positive and negative cables will be isolated from the chassis to prevent any type of electrocution from possibly touching the chassis itself. Like if you're in an accident, the car would make sure to shut itself off or disconnect that high voltage so that when you got out of the vehicle you would be safe. The automatic shutdowns only shut off the high voltage from the battery to the electric motors, and the batteries themselves remained energized. So if by chance you do get into an accident, do not touch the battery pack. It is still alive, but it's just disconnected from the rest of the vehicle. The hybrid system is also going to shut down when the ignition is turned off, the battery is disconnected, or the service disconnect is removed, as I said before. So, some general safety precautions. You should never ever need to work on any part of the high voltage system on your hybrid vehicle. Any problems related to the battery or any other part of the high voltage system should be taken to a dealership for repairs. Most of your vehicles are going to be under warranty. They need to go to the dealership because some of these fixes are very, very expensive, and most of them will be covered under warranty, which we'll go into later. When a technician repairs your vehicle, they will follow some general safety precautions. They will always assume that the high voltage system is hot or charged. They're going to use a one-hand rule to prevent connecting a circuit within the vehicle. They're going to remove all jewelry, and they're going to use personal protection equipment. They're never going to work alone. You always want a partner there in case of electrical shock. Again, leave any high voltage system up to the pros. They have experience and the proper equipment for these repairs. Speaking of the equipment, when technicians investigate the high voltage system, they're going to use EPA-approved personal protection equipment. These will include the Z87 safety glasses. This is a required piece of safety equipment for any repair shop, not just ones that work on hybrids. They're also going to use electrical safety gloves, class 0. These gloves are highly resistant to electric current flow, and they also use leather gloves that are placed over the top of the rubber gloves to prevent the rubber gloves from being punctured. The rubber gloves need to be tested every 6 months for resistance. This is to make sure that you will not have any electrical shock. They're also going to use insulated hand tools. Generally, the maximum rated voltage for insulated tools is 1,000 volts AC and 1,500 volts DC. They're going to take little precautions such as not wearing synthetic clothing and using rubber shoes. Now we're going to go over some hybrid vehicle accidents, what to do. If you're going to do a vehicle or into an accident with a hybrid, you're first going to want to set the parking brake. Make sure you put your vehicle into park if it already isn't. Power off the vehicle and remove the key or any smart keys from the vehicle and the ignition. A smart key can keep the vehicle on. It's just one of those keys that you put in your pocket if your vehicle is a push start. Make sure you notify others that your vehicle is an HEV, especially first responders. They're going to need to know so that they know how to approach and take care of the vehicle. So if you're in an accident with any GSA vehicle, hybrid or non-hybrid, please follow the following steps listed in your GSA Fleet Vehicle Guide. If you're involved in a crash and you are injured, it's really important to stay calm and quiet. Make sure you protect yourself from any further injury while awaiting help. But if you're not injured, make sure you take the necessary emergency action. Immediately get to a safe location out of the flow of traffic. If the vehicle's on fire, make sure you move far away from the vehicle. HEVs, if the battery gets compressed, it can vent flammable gases or alkali electrolytes. If by chance there's a flame, please move far away because these can be very dangerous. Make sure you warn other traffic and bystanders to be careful with matches and cigarettes, especially around hybrid vehicles. But also around any other GSA vehicle, especially if it's leaking gas. Make sure you call the police and emergency services. Be sure to notify the state, county, or municipal authorities as required by law. Do not sign or make any statements as to responsibility. This is very important. Any formal statement should be made to your supervisor or the government investigator. Also with any GSA vehicle, not just the hybrids again, you'll need to fill out our forms located in your GSA vehicle accident packet that is located in your vehicle packet. If possible, take pictures of the scene, your vehicle, and any other vehicles or property involved in the accident. Might be a good idea to take a picture of the license plates of both vehicles. Call the Accident Management Center, or AMC. They will walk you through the steps of getting your vehicle repaired and any other necessary actions following the accident. Be sure to submit everything to your supervisor. You'll need to process any injury claims through your agency as well. We as GSA don't take care of other agencies' claims for accident injuries, or damage. You're going to have to work that out with your agency. Next, we're going to do some hybrid maintenance and repairs. In the early days of hybrids, many repair shops were hesitant to work on them, so the drivers found themselves having to go to dealerships, which are sometimes more expensive. Today, more and more mechanics are trained and willing to work on your hybrid vehicle. Most hybrid cars do not require any additional regular maintenance on the hybrid-specific components. One exception is going to be the air filter on the battery system of the Ford Hybrid Escape. This is going to need to be replaced every 40,000 miles, as stated in the manual. Vehicle repairs may cost a little bit more than the regular non-HEV vehicle if the vehicle is out of warranty. Because of the way the internal combustion, the electric drive motor, and the transmission are all mated together, and they work as one unit or one entity, a malfunction in one of these components can affect the way the others function. It may be a costly diagnostic, but serious troubleshooting and diagnostics and repair should be left to the professionals for safety, and also if you try and do it yourself, you may make a bigger mess of things. And so it's always better to let the pros handle these repairs. The following is a general listing of individual checks, adjustments, and replacements that you can do on your own. Many late model vehicles have a life of the vehicle service parts. So for specific model recommendations, please consult your vehicle manual. I'm just going to go over a couple of the ones that you should check in your mileage and yearly intervals. Just as a little tip, you can check the transmission fluid, change out spark plugs, and the fuel and air filters. But going much deeper into the system is going to require specialized training. You should probably leave all of the repairs and maintenance up to the repair shop as well, as you should not be working on a GSA vehicle. That should be left up to the professionals as well. But in a personal HEV, these are definitely things that you can do. When you're performing a regular maintenance check on the cooling system or any other system, please remember to check the hoses, the pipes, the clamps, and any air filters and belts within the system. Um, these should be regular things that you should be doing on a weekly basis, just to make sure that your vehicle is in tip-top shape. It's not actually working on the vehicle, it's just checking to make sure that everything's okay. So, every 300 miles or weekly, you, the customer, or you, the driver, should check your engine oil level, should check your coolant level. Windshield washer fluid, that's a safety item, especially on those dirty roads. Make sure you check your tire condition and your air pressure. Make sure you check your transmission fluid level, power steering fluid level, and make sure that all of your lights and the horn is working. These are things that you need to do. It's the responsibility of the driver. And every 6,000 miles or 6 months, um, you should be checking the brake fluid level, the wheel bolts and lug nut tightness to make sure that your wheel isn't wobbly. You can take a look at the brake pads and the rotor. Make sure they're not, they don't have any deep grooves in them, or there's enough of a pad there. They'll usually tell you with the squeak bar or a shimmy shake of the vehicle whether they're going bad, but it's always a good idea to check them. It's always a good idea to check the battery. Make sure your windshield wiper blades are cleaning your windshield. Steering and suspension components, this can be done at your oil change interval, as well as the driveline components, the drive belts, the parking brake, and the fuel system components. They usually do a check on those and give you a little sheet at the end of your oil change anyway. So, always a good idea to check them. If the vehicle is operated under severe conditions, though, you should probably follow the enhanced maintenance intervals. Every 3,000 miles or 3 months, you're going to want to change the oil and the filter. Every 1,500 miles, you're going to want to change the air filter and drain and replace the automatic transmission fluid, or change the transmission fluid filter as well. Severe operating conditions, and we're talking pretty severe, are high speeds in hot and cold weather, mountainous or steep terrain, the extremely humid conditions, severely dusty conditions, frequent short trips, and if you're going to be towing anything. Not just a trailer. You could be towing a boat or trailer. No matter what alternative vehicle you're driving, whether it be an HEV, an E85, or even your regular gasoline, it's not only going to run better, but it's going to last longer and save you money if you take the time to do the regular maintenance. Yes, sometimes it's a hassle, but the results are definitely well worth the effort. A combination of regular routine maintenance on each vehicle and its major systems, as well as individual components, will contribute to overall safety and reliability of the vehicle. Routine maintenance costs on a hybrid may also be lower than one on a regular car. The gas engine shuts down when the car is idling at all times, such as driving at low speeds when the electric motor can take over. That means there's less wear and tear on the engine. On smaller hybrids, especially, oil changes are recommended at 5,000 miles rather than 3,000 miles. They can go a little bit longer. That's what the mechanics will recommend. GSA is going to be 1 year, 7,500 miles, or your oil life system. The gasoline engine on a hybrid requires the same maintenance that it would if it was the only power source of the vehicle. That means that you're going to want to change the oil on the schedule every 5 to 10,000 miles, depending on your vehicle's driving conditions. Again, if you're driving in really severe conditions, you might want to make sure that vehicle is taken care of. Check the oil, make sure it's not dirty, make sure your oil level is up. Always a good idea to keep an eye on those. Also, in ordinary vehicles, brake pads need to be changed regularly, but the hybrid's regenerative braking system and their reduced heat means their brake pads will typically last a little longer. One dealership mentioned that they've seen customers go as far as 85,000 miles before they even needed to replace their brake pads. That was on a Toyota Prius, so definitely a little bit less wear and tear on the brakes. Lastly, we're going to go into a little bit of warranty, just a quick discussion on it. Your GSA fleet vehicle, not just if it's a hybrid, but all GSA fleet vehicles, are covered by a minimum of 3 years, 36,000 miles, whichever comes first. This is a bumper-to-bumper coverage and includes roadside assistance and towing. Be sure that if you need roadside assistance, you consult your driver quick facts guide. This should be located in your vehicle packet. If you do not have the packet or the guide, please contact an FSR for the number and an additional vehicle packet. We'll send one out to you. Last but not least, we're going to talk about battery warranty, which is a big one. All of the hybrid-specific components in every hybrid vehicle is currently on the market. They're all covered under a warranty for 8 years or 100,000 miles, or some are 10 years, 150,000 miles, depending on the state. But these components have been shown to have a much longer lifespan than this in testing. Toyota, for example, will report that its battery pack will have lasted more than 180,000 miles in testing. We all know those tests are just a little bit higher than what you're going to get in your typical driving, but that's still pretty impressive. Every hybrid manufacturer reports that it has conducted testing of the hybrid components in extreme temperatures and with a repeated charge-discharge cycle and no ill effects on the hybrid system. But there is always the possibility that some part of the special hybrid system, especially the large battery pack, will fail. Hybrids sold today usually have warranties on the hybrid that are good, again, for about 8 years, 100,000 miles, and 10 years, 150,000 miles. But if you're unlucky and your car's hybrid battery dies before you've passed those milestones, the cost can be pretty high. Sorry for my phone. The good news is that most manufacturers have reduced the price of replacement hybrid batteries if your vehicle is out of warranty. In the earlier days, batteries could cost as much as $8,000 to $10,000, but today you can expect to pay just over $2,000. They're also working on battery reconditioning. That's going to be in my more technical presentation. They can actually go in and condition the battery if a battery pack is unbalanced or dead, and that will only cost about $500 depending on the time. So as technology grows and repair techniques improve, I think the hybrid systems are going to get much cheaper. So with that, do we have any questions from anybody about caring for hybrids? Anything you'd like to see in a future presentation?